Well, I think we are the time technology. I mean, I just held a workshop now on the 11/11 where I explained to people how they can literally stretch or speed up time in their own experience. Like we can shift anything and everything that we want. If we want to set our intention to not be late somewhere and we focus enough, we are literally going to be able to stretch the time, because in your 4D and your 5D, because right now the 3D and 4D are overlapping, but in your 4D and your 5D and the 5D, there's no limitation of time. Time is fluid. So if we learn how to control this perfect energetic physical machine that we have, we can literally bend time to our will.
Well, how would you actually do that though? Like, talk about like the mechanics of it.
Yeah, so basically I'll just give you an example. Let's say this is what I've been doing for like weeks and months, and then after a while they were like, you need to hold a workshop on this, you must tell people how to do it. So I'll just give you an example. I'm taking my daughter to school, okay, to kindergarten, and let's say I need to be there by 9. Okay, to be there by 9 on standard time, it would take me 20 minutes, so I'd have to leave at 8:40, right? It's 20 minutes. It didn't matter what time I left. Even if I left at like 5 to 9, I would always be there on time. And I would ask myself, I'm like, how is this possible? And they were like, what you're doing is because you are because this is I always speak about divine timing. For me, everything is always divinely aligned and in divine timing. They were like, because you're applying this concept on the day-to-day basis in your life, it's almost like you are stretching the time. It's almost like you stepping out of the 3D into another timeline where the time is slower, and then you're stepping back into the 3D timeline where the time hasn't moved. Does it make sense? So you never late. Another example that I can give you, this was back like maybe 2-3 years ago. I was flying, and I find that when you fly, again, all these concepts get kind of like mixed up. I find that I download a lot of information when I'm flying for some reason. I don't know if it's higher up and there's probably less chatter from the human frequency down Earth. So you kind of like more away from it. That's kind of like
that's why people go to the top of a mountain to meditate, because
exactly.
You don't get all that, except you pick up a lot of stuff from people on the airplane. So what are you going to do?
Yeah. So and I was writing down some light language codes, and I looked at the time. It was like 3 o'clock, and then I said, okay. So I write maybe like 6 or 7 pages. So what would be maybe like half an hour, 45 minutes. And then I look and it's like 3:02. And I'm like, how is this possible? And then I tuned in. They were like, no, you literally like just went into another timeline or dimension, channeled the codes, and then came back into the now. So I mean, people are hopping timelines all the time. Like they just don't realize it, they like place the keys somewhere, and then like after like a few hours they're somewhere else. They're just hopping in between timelines. I find that learning to kind of like anchor into the timeline that you want to be in works better if you don't have attachment to what is going on. With me, like these things happen to me, so then I can share and explain them to people.